If you've located the text out of respect for the reading of God's holy word, please stand if you are able to stand. Feel free to look on with a neighbor. And it reads, "And when they came to the multitude, a man came up to him, falling on his knees before him, and saying, Lord, have mercy on my son, for he is a lunatic and is very ill. For he often falls into the fire and often into the water. And I brought him to your disciples, and they could not cure him. And Jesus answered and said, O unbelieving and perverted generation, how long shall I be with you? How long shall I put up with you? Bring him here to me. And Jesus rebuked him, and the demon came out of him, and the boy was cured at once. Then the disciples came to Jesus privately and said, Why could we not cast it out? And he said to them, Because of the littleness of your faith. For truly I say to you, if you have faith as a mustard seed, you shall say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it shall move, and nothing shall be impossible to you. But this kind does not go out except by prayer and fasting. Our message for this morning is stop splitting your mustard seed. Stop splitting your mustard seed. You may be seated. Some of you may, as you went through school, taken a liking to science. Science was like a third or fourth subject for me. I enjoyed it. It wasn't my favorite. Reading was my favorite. But I did enjoy science because every now and then we had an opportunity to mess up the classroom. And I wasn't so interested in what the actual experiment was, but just to get my hands on something and tie up something. But if you are familiar with science, you may be familiar with nuclear fission. I'm not going to go deep into it because a lot of us really don't care about it, but what we need to know about nuclear fission is that it's all based upon understanding the least common component of anything alive or inanimate. And anything being alive or inanimate, the smallest part of that thing is called an atom. You have atoms, and the more atoms you have, you get into molecules, and you get into compounds. And I know it's boring because you probably fell asleep on it in science class, but everything around us is made by atoms. An atom is so small, you can't see it. You can see billions of them, which make me up, or what you're sitting on, the chair, or the clothes you're wearing, but the individual atom is so small. It takes an electron microscope in order to see it. Now, the funny part about an atom being so small, it doesn't appear to cause any type of fear with anybody. But if you are able to split the atom, it releases the largest amount of power ever known to man. The atomic bomb is based upon the theory of splitting the atom. You can't see it, it's so small, but if you split it, it releases untold amounts of power. All that power from something that is so small. Let's switch it and get a little spiritual here. Let's talk about a mustard seed. A mustard seed is very small. And we know because every Sunday we talk about faith, Matthew 17 and 20, being as small as a mustard seed, not smaller, is able to move mountains. But the funny part about a mustard seed is that it is not like an atom. If you split it, you don't get more power. If you split the mustard seed, your power decreases. God is saying this is the size your faith needs to be. Now, as if this is small enough, you don't need to go splitting the mustard seed, talking about I'm going to get stronger in faith. It's already small enough. God says if you don't have faith this small, you will not be able to move the trials and tribulations in your life. So whether you're a scientist or a novice, split the atom all day long, but don't split the mustard seed of faith. It's small enough, and if you split it, it amounts to doubt. Let's look at what's going on in the text today. We have Jesus and his inner circle, and it's all right to have an inner circle. I know you love many people, but you have an inner circle. And because these are in your inner circle don't mean that you don't love those that aren't in your inner circle. It means that you're just more comfortable with these in your inner circle. And your inner circle encourages you, strengthens you to pray for all those that you still love that aren't in your inner circle. Well, of the 12 disciples, of the 12 followers of Jesus, Peter, James, and John were his boys. Whenever Jesus went off somewhere alone, if anybody was going to be with him, it was going to be Peter, James, and John. Now, you got all the other 9 disciples, but they were not in his inner circle. And even though Jesus had an inner circle, his main ace boon coon was John, the disciple whom Jesus loved. So you got John, his number 1 guy, then you got Peter and James, his inner circle. So don't feel bad if you got an inner circle. That don't mean you don't love everybody else. Jesus has just gone upon the mountain of transfiguration. He had told them that there will be some of you disciples here today that will not die until you see me in my kingdom. And they're like, well, wait a minute, Jesus, we're going to see you in your kingdom of heaven before we die? Well, what Jesus was saying was you're going to get a glimpse of me in my kingdom of heaven. My kingdom of heaven has not arrived yet, but you will get a glimpse of it, is what he was saying. So he went up on a mountain and they saw him talking to Elijah and Moses in the spirit. So they got a glimpse of Jesus up in heaven. And then as they came down off the mountain of transfiguration, they had to go and rejoin the other 9 disciples. Now here's the deal. Those other 9 disciples, they had to continue their business while Jesus, Peter, James, and John was on the mountain. And sometimes when Jesus is away from you, you lose your mind. You don't know how to do things the way you normally do things. Things don't always turn out the way you want them to turn out because you're not close to Jesus like you used to be. So it says, and when they came to the multitude, a man came up to him, falling on his knees before him and saying, Lord, have mercy on my son, for he is a lunatic and is very ill, for he often falls into the fire and often into the water. The first thing we need to understand is that when you got problems in your life, you must humble yourself when you're requesting of God. Now that applies to everybody. If you got some issues going on, if things is going on your job, if things is going on in your household, if things are going on with your children, if things is going on with your physical health, and you need help, if you're going to go to somebody for help, you better make sure, first of all, you're going to Jesus. And if you're going to go to Jesus, you know how to humble yourself before the Lord. Because that lets the Lord know you understand your position before him before you start asking of what you need. It says, a man came up to him. It's good to be able to come up to Jesus. Some of us come up to our boss man. Some of us come up to our homeboys. Some of us come up to our homegirls. But until you learn how to come up to Jesus, you coming up to nothing. If you look at it, he says, a man came up to him. Now look at it. It says, this man came up to Jesus. Now, 4 of them was coming down off the mountain, and this man was smart enough to realize, I don't need to go to Peter with my problems.
All right.
I don't need to go to James with my problems. I don't need to go to John with my problems. I need to go to Jesus with my problems.
Amen.
Now, many of us, when we got issues, we want to go to Sally. We want to go to James. We want to go to Taniqua. We want to go to Shantae. We want to go to everybody but Jesus. They walking around Jesus. They know they need to go to Jesus, but you trying to go to man when Jesus say, you need to come to me directly. I don't care if somebody knows Jesus. They are not Jesus. I don't care how spiritual they may be. One day you're going to catch them slipping. So if you're going to go to somebody, go to Jesus. Don't go to Peter. Don't go to James. Don't go to John. Go to Jesus if you got access to Jesus. But sometimes if you can't find Jesus, you go to somebody you think who know Jesus. And sometimes that may work and sometimes it don't, depending upon their relationship. It says, falling on his knees. So we see that right then and there, he realized the importance of humbling himself before an almighty God. Don't go to God beating on your chest. Don't go to God like you think you got it all together. Don't go to God like you think that you're in charge and he needs you when it's you who really need him. It says he fell on his feet, on his knees, and said, Lord, have mercy on my son. He knew enough to ask the Almighty God to have mercy on his son, to have mercy on my family, to have mercy on me. We must be able to humble ourselves before the Lord and ask God to have mercy. Mercy is not getting what you deserve. Mercy is acknowledging that you are not a perfect person. Mercy is acknowledging that what you really deserve is punishment. But God loves you so much, he's going to overlook the fact that you deserve to be punished. So this man realized that I deserve to be punished. My son deserved to be punished. But what my son is going through, Jesus, I'm asking you not to give him what he deserves. I'm asking you to help him out of this situation. Why are we so afraid to go before the Lord and say, Lord, have mercy on me? After all, when Jesus hung, bled, and died on the cross, that was a token of God's mercy and grace in not giving us what we deserve. He said, Lord, have mercy on my son. Get this, for he is a lunatic. You ever dealt with some lunatics?
Amen.
See, the Bible uses this word, so we can use this word. A lunatic means that the man was crazy.
Amen.
That's right. A lunatic means that he was insane in the membrane. He's a lunatic. He was a fool. Now get this. We've seen some fool. You know what? Some of us have acted a fool before. We have a little lunacy going on from time to time. It says that my son is, now get this. The man ain't trying to diss his son, but he's calling it like he said. He said, my son is a lunatic. Not only is he crazy and insane, but he's very ill. He's ill. Ill is talking about the issue of him having a disease we call epilepsy. See, he was known for going into seizures. We called them fits back in the day when I was growing up in South Park. We didn't know what epilepsy was. You just asked, what's the epilepsy? Is that a new type of paralysis? No, it ain't epilepsy. We say, you know what, that boy suffers from fits. We understood what that was. You know, and this boy had fits to the point to where, get this, I don't want you to overlook this, because the devil comes to what?
Kill, steal, and destroy.
He comes to kill, steal, and destroy. So the devil does not want this boy to live. He's already crazy. Now he's very ill with epilepsy. And let me show you how the devil is. Now epilepsy, don't get it twisted. You can have epilepsy, or you can have fits, and it ain't got nothing to do with evil spirits. It could be a medical condition. But you can have epilepsy or anything else going on in your life, and it ain't got nothing to do medicinally. It's got to do with demon possession. You better understand that as sure as there is a God, there is a devil. As sure as there are angels, there are demons. And don't you think for 1 minute, if you can be angelically possessed, that you can't be demonically possessed. So look at the text here. It says that he throws fits. And look at how the devil tries to treat this young man when he's in a rage of fit. It says, get this, I want you to listen closely. He often falls into the fire. Now, fire burns. So every time this boy has a fit, if there's fire around, some kind of way, just like a moth to a flame, he's attracted to the fire. Because the devil wants to kill him. Now, get this. It says, not only is he attracted to the fire when he's in one of his lunatic fringes, he's also attracted to the water. Get this, water drowns. Now, one thing, if you are biblically inclined, you need to know that water and fire are what God uses to destroy the earth. So we see here that the devil is trying to use what God uses to destroy the earth in order to destroy whom he wants to destroy. If you remember, God destroyed the earth the first time with water. And I drove on 45 down I-10 the other day getting to work, and I saw this big old rainbow. And this rainbow went from the ground up into the clouds. It was just so beautiful. And people have changed the meaning of rainbows. They want to make it the sign of gay pride. But you can't change what God meant to be. The rainbow was God's way of saying, I will never destroy the earth again by water. But he did say, you know what? It won't be water, but fire next time. So water and fire can do amazing things. They are necessary for life. But if in the hands of the wrong individual, they do kill and destroy. So it says here that he often throws himself into the fire and into the water. And he backed off right at that point. He just let Jesus know what was going on. He didn't talk to the other three guys. Get this. Then he throws the other 9 disciples under the bus. See, you better make sure you fill with the Holy Spirit when you talk about ministering to somebody else. And specifically trying to call out demons. Because God has given us power if he has given us power. Sometimes God gives us power and we give it back. Look at it. Sometimes you ever experience a sudden loss of power? You know what I'm talking about. I have a more modern day version of a sports car called a Corvette, but back in the day I had an older version. It was modern at that time. It was a 92 version of a Corvette, and I love that car. Not that you're supposed to love a car. I somewhat idolize it, but God has grown me up since then, amen? So I get in that car, and it was so powerful till it required all the time a full tank of gas. And when you step on the gas pedal, all it did was lead you to the next gas station. So I park it and drive my truck because the doggone gas the car sucked up was incredible. But one thing about that car, you touch the gas pedal, those back wheels just spin. You just barely touch it. You just take off by itself. And I'm like, okay, fine. But I like racing back then. But I didn't like filling up my gas tank. So I used to own some Mustangs back in the day, and these little Mustangs come up to me. I'm like, I'm in a different league right now, man. Don't mess with me. I'll embarrass you in your little Mustang and whatnot, and so forth. And these little Mustangs come up, I'm like, I've been there, done that, you know. And so I'm like, let me go and check this little Mustang driver. And the light would change to green, and I wouldn't have no gas in my car. And the Mustang would take off, and then I hit that Corvette, boom, catch up with him, and it starts slowing down, and the Mustang, I'm like, oh no. I experienced a sudden loss of power because I didn't fill up. I experienced a sudden loss of, now Mustang is going around thinking he can whoop a fat because I didn't fill up. The devil is walking around thinking he can beat you now because you didn't fill up. So you experience these sudden losses of power, and look at how he threw the disciples under the bus because he went looking for Jesus. Now he knew to look for, but case. Now I know God is ever at the same time, but he's 100% God. But in this case, he's 100% man. So the man went to the other disciples. It's good when people see other Christians and want to go to them for counsel. Ain't nothing wrong with that. As long as that Christian is filled up. So apparently something went wrong, and he's saying to Jesus, I brought him to your disciples. He didn't say to somebody else's disciple. He's letting Jesus know your people got some issues. I heard how good they were supposed to be. I heard that when you follow Jesus, you're on a new level. You can do some things. He said that I brought him to your disciples, and they could not cure him. Now, see, to turn back just a couple of pages to Matthew chapter 10 and verse 8. I hear the pages turning. It won't take us long to get there. Don't overturn 3 or 4 pages back. Matthew chapter 10 and verse 8. I'm going to go back to verse 7 and I'm going to read it. This is what Jesus blessed the disciples with when they got into ministry. He says, and as you go preach, saying the kingdom of heaven is at hand, he commissioned them, heal the sick, raise the dead, cleanse the lepers, cast out demons. Freely you received, freely give. So Jesus ordained them with the power within himself to cast out demons, to heal, to do some miraculous things. See, you don't understand true Bible. It ain't about what you're going through. You're going to go through something as sure as you up top or down at the back. God has commissioned you to cast out some things. God has given you the power to speak a word over some issues going on in your life. And you wonder why sometimes it works and sometimes it don't. Look, he's saying God has given them some power. But the man is saying, with all that power they had, I brought him to your disciples, and they could not cure him. Threw those 9 under the bus. I can see the other 3, Peter, James, and John, feeling kind of haughty right now. We left y'all down there, and y'all couldn't even cast out those demons, huh? You know, because the disciples were very competitive with each other. See, they were people just like you and me. Don't act like they were anybody special. They only special because of who they knew. And you're only special because of who you know. Look at it. It says you got to understand that time is running out. Time is running out. That means there's an urgency. It says 17. And Jesus answered and said. Now get this. It doesn't say Jesus answered him. See, he's talking to Jesus, and it says Jesus answered. It don't say Jesus answered him. Let me tell you something. If Jesus is speaking, doesn't matter who he's talking to. All of us can benefit. See, it says, and Jesus answered and said, O unbelieving and perverted generation. Get this. If he was talking to the man directly, this was not a Jewish person. This was part of the multitude. This man was just smart enough to go to somebody who he heard about, which is an act of faith in and of itself, to help out his situation. But if Jesus was talking straight to the man, Jesus could have told him, oh, you perverse and unbelieving man. You don't want to hurt people like that in ministry. This man was smart enough to come to Jesus. This is Jesus just speaking about his disappointment and what he sees in general. He is about to help this man out, but he is seeing so much lack of faith. We are surrounded, church, by so much lack of faith. We are surrounded by so much unbelief. We're surrounded by so much negativity to where it can cause us to not believe. We see it on TV. We see it on the radio. We see it in the movies. We see it on the iPad. We see it on the Android. We see it on the iPhone. We see it everywhere to where it can discourage us. And Jesus, don't get me wrong, is not discouraged because he is God / Son of God, but he is still disappointed in the general response to faith that he has been seeing. he is saying that this generation is unbelieving. That means that they don't have the common sense enough to trust in him and what he has done, in the miracles he has performed. Do you have the faith to trust in Jesus? Faith has its focus on its author and perfecter. Faith has its focus on Jesus. Do you trust in Jesus? You know what? People look at man. They look at what man is dealing with, and when man is up, they're up. But when man go down, they'll go down. They didn't have the nerve to say, I trust in the Lord with all my heart. I lean not on my own understanding. But if I see a spiritual brother stumbling, I don't have no more faith. Your faith ain't in the man. Your faith is in God. Only Jesus saves. So we see here that Jesus is trying to show us how important it is to focus on him and nobody else. He's saying that unbelief is a perversion. You don't hear me though? It says lack of faith makes you a perverted person. What does perversion mean? Perversion means abnormal. Perversion means something's wrong with you. He says, oh, unbelieving and perverse generation. Oh, generation that has no faith. Oh, abnormal generation. Oh, crazy, out of the ordinary generation. God doesn't want you to be perverted. We think of, when you think of a pedophile, you think of a pervert. Why? Because that's an abnormal behavior. When you think of anything that ain't right, you think of perversion. Why? Because it is abnormal. God wants you to reconcile in your mind, in your heart, and within your soul that lack of faith is a perversion. If you don't want to be a pervert, don't have lapses of faith. That is all we got. He says, oh, unbelieving and perverse generation. Then he says, time is running out. How long shall I be with you? How long shall I put up with you? He's saying that eventually I'm going to be leaving. I'm going back to be with my Father. I came down here by faith, did everything he told me to do, and you're still struggling. I'm not going to be with you much longer. How long am I going to have to put up with you? I'm not going to put up with you much longer. Time is running out. Likewise, you can reverse that. Jesus has already come, done what he needed to do, and has arisen to the right hand of power in heaven, to the side of his Father, God the Father. And get this, for us, he's coming back. And you better have gotten over your unbelief and your perversions before Jesus comes back. Because when he come back, if you're still in your state of unbelief and perversion, then you're going to reap the reward of those who don't believe because of their abnormalness. He says time is running out. Church, time is running out on our unbelief. Time is running out on our lack of faith. Time is running out. I don't care how hard life hits you, no matter how in what way life comes at you. You need to maintain your faith. You need to know that God will never leave you, nor will he ever forsake you. Time is running out. Don't be standing there looking crazy, holding your belt in your hand, or holding your purse in your hand, talking about da-da-da-da. You should have got on board with Jesus. And you're here today for the specific purpose of having your faith encouraged, so that when the Lord comes back, you will not be found in a state of unbelief as a pervert. Look at it. He says, a doctor is in the sick room. Back up a little bit before we jump down there. He says, bring him here to me. He says, time is running out. I won't be with you much longer. You know what? He didn't question the man. He knew that the man was smart enough to bring his son to Jesus. And he said, bring him here to me. Let me tell you something. I don't care. As long as you come to God with your problems, he is ready to serve.
Yes, he is.
He may rebuke your past attitudes. He may rebuke the attitudes of those around you, which in many cases is a good thing. But if you come to him, he ain't going to leave you holding the bag. He says, where the boy at? Bring him here. And I'm okay how Jesus talked to me. As long as he say, what the problem at? Bring it here. Bring it here. Because if I bring it to Jesus, that means I'm getting it off of me. As long as Jesus is able to say, bring it here, you ought to be in a giving mode. He says, bring him to me. And then we understand that Jesus is a doctor in the sick room. It says, and Jesus rebuked him, meaning the evil spirit, and the demon came out of him, and the boy was cured. And then it says, at once. So whatever you can be struggling with, if you bring it to Jesus and you exercise faith that Jesus is able to fix it, I mean faith the size of a mustard seed, Jesus will fix it. And in many cases, if his will be done, he can do it at once. Now sometimes he takes his time doing it. Why? Because he's trying to teach you something. He's trying to teach you forbearance. He's trying to teach you patience. So if it doesn't happen at once for you, don't act like Jesus ain't Jesus. Don't act like he still don't have your best interests at heart. His whole desire is to teach you the fruit of the Holy Spirit. But in many cases, if your faith is where he wants it to be, he can fix it at once. Look at it. We have to understand that Jesus is still the balm of Gilead. He is able to heal our sick situations. He is able to deliver. He is able to take whatever we give him and make it better than before we gave it to him.
All right now.
But what's wrong with us? What's wrong with us? Then the disciples came to Jesus privately. They didn't want to confront Jesus in front of everybody else. I understand because you already embarrassed. You couldn't do what you have been doing before. After all, the man came to them because of they at one point was healing people. What happened between when they was healing until they experienced a sudden loss of power? See, you at one point is flying high on your faith. Everything is going right. Your prayers are being answered. Your home is being healed. Your life is being healed. Your body is being healed. And then all of a sudden, the bottom falls out. And then you want to know what happened to me. They scratching their heads and they pulled Jesus inside. And they said, why is it that we were unable to cast it out? Why couldn't we do it, Jesus? That's a good question. You need to know why your power has faded. Only until you know how it's faded will you be able to fix it. So it's all right when you come asking questions of the Lord when things ain't working the way they used to work. And then Jesus tells them, stop splitting your mustard seed. See, he said, and he said to them, because of the littleness of your faith. See, it's okay that your faith is little, as long as it ain't too small. Your faith needs to be at least the size of a mustard seed. If your faith ain't at least this size, you splitting the mustard seed. And when you split this mustard seed, no wonder things don't work out the way they need to work out. No wonder things are going south and nothing you do is able to resolve it. Because you have taken a mustard seed size faith and you have cut it in half. I don't care if you cut it in thirds, if you cut it in quarters, don't split the mustard seed. He said to him, because of your littleness of faith. And then he gives them this story. For truly I say to you, if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you shall say to this mountain, move. Repeat after me. If I have faith the size of a mustard seed, I will say, I am going to say, I am in the midst of saying, to this mountain, to this problem, to this situation, to this circumstance, move, and it will move from here to there, and nothing, and no thing, not life, not death, not up, not down, not sideways, not right, not left, not good, not bad, nothing will be impossible for me. You won't believe me though. He's saying your faith is too little. He's saying you, just like they tried to split the atom to release more power, it don't work that way with faith. You can't cut faith in half to release more power. He says, and nothing will be impossible for you. Stop splitting your faith. Stop splitting your mustard seed. Let the seed be what it is. It's already as small as it is. It only takes a small mustard seed. Don't you start trying to act like you are the author and perfecter of faith. You don't get to choose how big faith needs to be. You don't get to cut it smaller than what Jesus said it needs to be. Faith the size of a mustard seed, not faith the size of half a seed, is able to move mountains. And so get this, they had cut the size of their faith down. At one point, it was at least the size of a mustard seed. When in Matthew 10 and 8, God told them to go out and heal the sick and cleanse the lepers and exorcise the demons. Their faith was at least the size of a mustard seed. Why? Because they was trusting in Jesus. Let's look at the last verse. Moving forward, what should we do? We must stay connected to God. We must stay connected. Say, I will stay connected to Jesus. Because when you let go of Jesus, that's your problem. Look at it, it says, but this kind, talking about the demons, that they were unable to exercise. He's talking about moving forward, not in the past, because this is a done deal. He says, this kind does not go out except by prayer and fasting. So some kind of way the disciples were unable to exorcise the demon that gave the boy lunacy. The demon that tried to kill him in the water, the demon that tried to kill him in the fire. Why? Because somewhere they stopped praying. Somewhere they stopped praying. He says, moving forward, go back to what you used to do. When I told you in Matthew 10 and 8, you were a praying group of people. You were able to get things done. You moved in a condition of authority because you were connected to me by prayer.
All right.
You know what happens over time? We think that what God has given us to do, we think we're able to do it on our own. The disciples had become complacent. They had healed so many, Pastor Richardson. They had laid hands on so many, Pastor Richardson, till they thought it was themselves that was doing it. They was treating it like it was magic. And it was directly associated with and connected to their amount of faith in Jesus. But when you stop talking to the Lord, your relationship with him suffers. And the power in which he gave you suffers as well. You experience a sudden loss of power. Jesus is saying, don't stop praying. He's saying that sometimes if you're praying and that don't work, he's saying you need to go a little bit farther to have a closer connection with me. See, when you pray, you're talking to God. When you're fasting, you're giving up something else in your life to recognize the power of God. You know what? I'm going to give up watching TV. And the time I spent watching TV, I'm going to start talking to God more. I'm going to give up learning or riding my bicycle. I'm going to give up listening to the radio for this period of time. I'm going to give up eating for a period of time so that I can hear from the Lord.
My Lord.
He says your problem because you are unable to do what you used to do is because you have lost your connection to me. You see, you 9 that I left behind, it was never you doing the healing. It was never you exorcising demons. It was me doing it through you because you was connected to me and you believed in me.
Yeah.
But you got used to what I was doing through you. And you thought that it was about you because you got the little big head. And when you get the big head, things don't go right.
All right.
He says you need to, moving forward, you need to get back into connection with me. You need to fast to hear from me, and you need to pray to talk to me.
Yeah.
Because when you are disconnected from God, things go south.
Amen.
So he's saying, stop splitting your mustard seed. The mustard seed is no good, church, if you're going to try to move on half of it. If you're going to try to move on a portion of it. You have to have faith at least the size of a mustard seed. And faith in Jesus.
Yes, yes, yes.
We quote the scripture all the time.
Yes.
And we can assume that everybody understands what your faith needs to be in. But every now and then we need to come back and clarify what we're talking about.
All right.
Your faith needs to be in Jesus.
Yes.
And that faith in Jesus
Yes.
needs to be at least the size of a mustard seed.
My Lord.
Most gracious Father,